this is home for the night. I'm in Oil Creek State Park in Pennsylvania. It is the first week in February. The reason I picked this location in particular for this backpacking trip is that these shelters come with a fireplace and they stock wood here. So you can help yourself to some wood and have a nice toasty fire. Nice, hopefully cozy place to sleep. I brought plenty of warm gear so that I can stay cozy. Have a nice little picnic table here. Looks like a really great place to have a nice cozy night. And tomorrow night, I will be staying at another shelter just like this, about 5 or 6 miles away. It's only noon right now, so I'm pretty early to getting to my shelter, but I kind of did that on purpose. I want to do a little bit of hiking around the area. There's a trail that supposedly goes to a cool lookout point, and sounds like there's some neat historical sites in the park as well, so I might be able to see some of that today before it gets too dark. The first thing I'm going to do though is get some firewood, make sure I have that all ready to go so that once I come back to my shelter, I can have a nice cozy place. This camping area also does have a bear box, so I'm not going to take my food with me on my little day hike here, so I'll drop that off at the bear box. Collected all my firewood and everything's pretty much ready for the night, so I figured I've got a few hours of daylight left. I might as well go for a little stroll and check out part of the trail. I've got pretty much just some water, a granola bar, and my first aid stuff in my bag. Got my bear spray on me, even though it's February and it's unlikely to run into a bear. As I always say, it's not just for bears. The whole trail here at Oil Creek State Park is over 30 miles long, and I'm not going to do all of that. But this is a part of the trail that I could access from where I'm staying tonight, and it's a little bit different from what I'll be hiking tomorrow, so I figured since there was a scenic point notated on the map that it would be worth coming out. So it is pretty overcast today. The sun's only peeked out a few times. And the funny thing about hiking in the woods in February when it's overcast is it kind of just feels like dusk all the time. And I keep checking the time because I'm worried it's later than it is. Whew. This part was marked on the map as switchbacks, and it's climbing pretty quick. Right now I'm on a multi-purpose trail, which is paved because there's supposed to be an old farm up here. So I figured I'd veer off the hiking trail to the multi-purpose trail and see if it's anything worth looking at. Well, apparently I'm at the site. Aside from the signs indicating as much, you would never know. It says there used to be an oil refinery and an oil pipeline here in the 1860s. But it's all grown in and trees now. Just another indicator of how things change over time. Towns come and go. Places that seem so permanent just go right back to nature. There's a whole village here. It's hard to imagine. I'm back. Whew. My stuff's still here. That's good. That was a nice little walk. I usually use a water bladder, but when the weather's really cold, the water in the hose can freeze. So instead I'm using 2.5 liter Smart Water bottles. Smart Water bottles. Smart Water bottles. Smart Water bottles are just a really nice shape, and they're also really light, so it's a good alternative to using a water bladder, especially in cold weather. And then I brought my Nalgene empty, but I filled it for my little excursion there. Tonight, I just picked one of the two out. I'm gonna do the chicken coconut curry, white chicken, rice, vegetables with a coconut curry sauce. Yum! And it's got 44 grams of protein in this entire pouch. Is that gonna sit on there safely? I think so. Okay. I just don't want to have it slide after I start it, so I always check first. Oh, my lighter's too cold. Shoot. Oh, it's the wind. Well, there's like not even that much wind. I'm gonna set it behind the chimney because I guess the wind is blowing strong enough to have a impact on the flame. All right, water's done. Yeah, it's got like pucks of dehydrated sauce, tons of chicken in here. Holy smokes. Some rice. Oh, yeah. There's huge pieces of carrot in here. That took me by surprise. Wow. Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna let this finish rehydrating, and then I'm really looking forward to just relaxing with my soup. And after dinner, I think it will be time to start the fire, get into some cozy camp clothes, pull out my book, and relax. Ooh, getting chilly. It looks like curry. It's a little soupy, which I wanted. It's got chicken. Look at the size of these carrot chunks. I'm really curious if these are going to have rehydrated well, or if they're going to be weirdly crunchy. I hope it's still warm. The flavor is really good. The chicken is that classic backpacker meal. It's actually better than some I've had. It's not styrofoamy in the middle. It is rehydrated all the way through, but it's still chewy just because it's like super lean. And then these carrots. Let's see how this did. Weirdly crunchy in the middle. Kind of not really crunchy, but definitely not fully rehydrated. I don't know how to describe it. I really like this. The weird textures, I think you kind of just learn to expect from a dehydrated and then rehydrated meal, whether it's freeze-dried or one that I make at home in our dehydrator. Some foods just don't rehydrate well, but they still taste really good. Dinner was really good, but I am starting to get chilly. Whew. So I'm going to get this fire started. I'm going to put my headlamp on just because the fireplace is already kind of dark. Get that going in there. Hopefully it'll catch a few things. Oh, definitely got cold really quickly. Looks like some of my little stuff is catching, which is great to see. Fire starting is one aspect of camping that I think Travis has always been better at than I am. So it's one thing when I'm by myself that I get a little anxious about because he makes it look so easy, but then when I do it, I always struggle. The little stuff goes, but it doesn't start the next big thing. Hopefully I can get these little splits to catch. Took me a little while, but I got her going. I'm on to the medium-sized stuff now. I already feel the heat. It feels so good. It's funny, if you want your fire to be a certain way, it almost definitely will not be that way. Has a mind of its own. Kind of have to let it do what it wants. There's probably a good lesson in there. Thought I would tell you about my sleep system. So for my sleep system, I am using the same thing that we use when we are winter camping in the hot tent, which is this Reflectix pad. It's basically just almost like a bubble wrap foam, but it's metallic and reflective, and it actually will help reflect your body heat back at you. Then I just have a foam mat, which is really just to create space between me and the ground. Then I have my Amok blow-up sleeping pad. This is from my hammock sleeping system, but it is an R value of 4. Honestly, I don't really know what that means, aside from the higher the number, the lower temperature it can keep you warm at. So 4 is good. And that's comfy, and I like it. I have my blow-up pillow. I don't honestly, Cocoon. I don't know if they even still make these anymore. I'm sure you can get one similar. This actually says it's a travel pillow, but I love this thing. Then I have this LL Bean. I think it's a 30-degree blanket. We got this used. It has a hood. It's kind of a mummy style, narrow at the feet. I will zip or unzip it depending on my cold. I like it unzipped if I can, just because I don't like being restricted. I have this Reactor Extreme, which is a liner that goes inside my sleeping bag. This basically feels like a soft t-shirt material, but it adds an extra supposedly 25 degrees to your bag, so helps keep me warm. This also has a hood, and I like to use this hood to cover my head. Usually instead of these feel less breathable to me. So this, I feel like I can put it over my head. It'll keep me warm, but I also feel like I'm not suffocating. And then the last piece I have is this quilt. I believe it's a 10-degree quilt that Travis got last winter. So I have this over top. The bottom zips kind of like a mummy bag, so I can close it around my feet. I already have it zipped up and closed around the feet of the LL Bean bag. As far as clothing goes, I do usually wear 2 pairs of socks. I'm not wearing both pairs right now. I should actually stick these inside my coat so they start warming up. I already have 1 pair of wool socks on with my booties, MEC booties. We got them online. I have some hand warmers in there right now because my feet were especially cold. These are little down booties. They're soft on the bottom so I can sleep in them, and they're really comfy. They cinch at the top so they keep the warm air in. Then I have my wool. I think these are actually a combination wool synthetic base layer. And then, I know, not the best, but these are just cotton sweatpants, and I prefer them because they don't get too hot, and they're still like loose enough that they let a good amount of air in, and they're comfy. For the top, I have my wool synthetic base layer again, and then I have my my socks I'm keeping in there, my Patagonia, which is a fleece synthetic, and then I have my puffy, which I'll probably wear all night unless I get really hot. Sometimes I get warmer in my upper body and colder in my lower body, so I'll actually take my puffy off and kind of wrap it around my legs. I also have my hat. I have a balaclava that I'll wear to help keep my face and neck warm. And then I have mittens, and if I feel like I need them, I can put hand warmers in my mittens as well. I also have this awesome fire going, so that will help keep me toasty warm. Maybe. At least it'll bring a warm glow to the atmosphere. I think I'll be fine tonight. Honestly, I'm not really worried. Oh, slept great, honestly. Stayed warm. Brought the fire back to life around 11 p.m. And then I woke up at some point, I think around 5, and it was dead. But it was still dark out, so rolled over and went back to sleep until a couple geese flying by woke me up. Honestly, the hardest part is trying to sleep for so long because it's dark for over 12 hours. What are you going to do? I am going to restart this fire this morning. It's pretty chilly once I got out of my sleeping stuff. My hands got really cold. I have some hand warmers inside my mittens with me right now. Definitely going to cook up some food and some coffee. There's a woodpecker close by making a racket. Oh, it's a beautiful morning though. Oh my gosh, it's so clear and blue. Hopefully the sun stays out today. I think it's supposed to. I slept with the lighter in my pocket so it would stay warm. Obviously use your own judgment for that. This one does have the safety on and it's pretty low risk. Plan 2. I don't think this is going to catch, but they do provide newspaper, I found out, over by the bathroom. So I'll grab a few sheets of those and see if that'll help us get going this morning. All right, take 2. Shoved some sticks that I picked up along the way, some newspaper, I think maybe we got a good start this time. My fire's going, but barely, so I won't worry about it too much, I guess. Time to get some breakfast going, though. Ooh, that's chilly. Oh, that's cold. Ooh. Ooh. Slush. Have my oatmeal. There's apples, cranberries, pecans, I think a few dates. There wasn't a lot left of the dates. Oh, and I'm trying quinoa this time. But I thought quinoa might be a nice way to add some different texture to it. And then I'm gonna do a pumpkin spice hot chocolate. I bought these in the fall. And then I have my instant coffee pre-mixed with the creamer and sugar. All right. Probably gonna take a little while because that water was partially frozen. Just gotta try to be patient, even though I really want breakfast and coffee. Okay, guess I'll just have to sit and watch the fire. Rough life, huh? Or this blue, blue sky. Oh, what a gorgeous day. I think it's supposed to be in the 40s today too, low 40s. I wish they could reverse it. I wish it got warmer at night and colder during the day, because then I'd be moving around and I wouldn't have to worry about a sweat. And then at night I wouldn't have to worry about freezing. Oh, my fire is going. Oh my gosh, you gotta see this. My fire is going. Yes. Look at that fire. Oh my goodness. Oh, that is beautiful. Oh, that brings me joy. True, true joy. I am not convinced that the quinoa works in this form factor. I think you would need to be able to cook it and keep the water hotter for longer so that the quinoa could properly reconstitute. I mean, I let this soak for probably 15 minutes, which is how long I would normally cook quinoa on the stovetop. And I usually shut the water off and just let it sit there. But I think because it's so cold out here, the water just didn't stay warm enough. And the quinoa was still really crunchy. And now it's all in my teeth. Oil Creek State Park has several camping areas, only 2 of which have this particular shelter set up with the fireplace. I'm at Wolf Kill right now, and then the other one is Cow Run. And that's where I'll be staying tonight. My room's pretty messy. There's frost on this. Brr. This was a really enjoyable shelter to sleep in. I like that 3/4 walls feeling. And it was really nice to be able to look out in the middle of the night, and there were a couple stars I could see through the trees. The sleeping pad is always my least favorite thing. This one's a lot easier than our old ones, but it's still not fun. I do really wish that I could just stuff this and not have to fold it and work so hard at it. It's really not that hard, but I still like to complain about it. Oh, it's so cold. It was so cold on my little handsies. The problem is that even with just my gloves on, I can't manipulate this adequately, because you might say, put your gloves on. But it just doesn't work the same. You need to be able to have good mobility to do this, and I just can't do it with my gloves. Look how hard that was. I am such a freaking baby. Like,
That was so easy. And here I am like, oh, this is the hardest part. Girl, you whine too much. Please, that was so easy. What a drama queen. And if that isn't a perfect example of how you can frame your experience with your own construct of that experience, I don't know what is. I did not do that on purpose, by the way. I literally was not looking forward to doing this. I'm thinking, oh, it's so tough and what a pain. Girl, please. Decided to make myself another cup of tea. Well, a cup of tea in addition to my coffee this morning, taking it easy. Just been packing up and thinking about my plans for the day. I'm looking at the map a little bit. The dirt road that runs through the park crisscrosses the trail in a few places, and there's parking along the way in different spots. I'm thinking what I might do is drive over to Cow Run. You're only allowed to stay at each shelter one night, so since I wanted to do 2 nights, I picked the 2 shelters that have firewood options available. But I don't have an issue with hiking today. It's supposed to be beautiful and sunny. I want to do some hiking. The problem is tomorrow I would have to hike the same roughly 6 miles back the way I came to get back to my car. There's no real loop options, and I don't know that I'm necessarily excited for that. So I think if I drive over to Cow Run and stop at a few places and hike and check out the scenery, get to Cow Run, set up again, and kind of do the same thing I did yesterday, do some day hikes around that area, that will give me the best of both worlds, and then I'll have a short hike out tomorrow when I'm ready to leave. And I think this is a good way that I can enjoy hiking, enjoy another night out here without too much added stress. And enjoyment is the whole point of this. I'm not out here to prove anything to you or to me. I mean, yes, in a way I am proving to myself that I can be out here in the cold alone, which is, I'm impressed with myself. Shoot. Do I need to add on top of that 12 miles of hiking? Not necessarily. Just changing my plans like that has lifted a burden, provided me with less worry about the next 2 days. So I think that gives me space to be able to enjoy myself more. And like I said, that's what it's all about. They do say not to put out the fire or the water, and they come and they sweep them out between each guest, which is just incredible. The people who maintain sites like this for the rest of us are awesome human beings, just really great. And I think some of them do work for the state, but a lot of it is volunteer, and I just feel really lucky that I get to have these experiences because of the work that those people do. So if you're a volunteer, thank you. Bags all packed. Fire's just a few glowing embers, but I kind of stirred it around a little bit to help it calm down before I leave. Blech. All right, nothing left to do but do it. Well, that was kind of weird. Pulled up to the hiking trail and found a car in a ditch on the side of the road. We were able to get 911 called so that they could get medical attention and a tow truck. A little bit of a time delay, but here we are. Miller's Fall seemed like a bit of a bust. I don't know if there was a waterfall beyond the creek crossing, but I certainly wasn't about to try and cross the creek. My feet are already cold, and I don't want to get them wet, because if I get them wet, that'll be the end of my trip. I looked for another way to cross the creek and didn't really see anything viable, so headed back. Really, the coolest part of that trail was seeing the old oiling equipment. I can only assume it's from the 1800s. It didn't look very modern. Stopped to check out this old bridge over the river here and just check out some of the walking areas along the way. So sunny. The sky is so blue. It's really a beautiful day. Great day to be out. I love the look of the little fluffy seed pods on these bushes. Cotton ball forest. I'm on the next stop for my day hiking adventures. There's a spot on the map, looks like maybe about a mile. It's marked as Plum Dungeon Falls. Since my last falls experience was a bit of a letdown, I'm hopeful for this one. And I brought a snack, granola bar, because I was starting to feel a little hungry. So I'll hike and snack. Looks like this is a little bit of a climb. So I'm gonna focus, put my head down, and eat my snack.
My next stop from here is to hike back to my car, and then we'll be driving over to Cow Run Shelter. Start setting up camp. If it was sunnier here, I'd probably stay and hang out, but it's a lot of tree cover and it's a little chillier in the shade. I love listening to the sound of the water. After some nice day hikes, I am finally at Cow Run Shelter. I've got my overnight backpack all loaded up and I'm ready to hike in. The weather is gorgeous and it's still plenty early, so I'm hoping I can find a sunny spot by the shelter and just kind of hang out for a little bit. Not a cloud in the sky. It is so pretty, so blue. All right, that 3 liters of water really adds quite a bit of weight. Since I was going back to my car anyway, I did have a gallon of water in my car, so I was able to refill with clean water and don't have to worry about boiling creek water. Just another benefit, I guess, of doing it this way. And still plenty of time to hike around the area if I want, check out the sights. I'm really glad I got to go to that waterfall though. Wouldn't have been able to do that with the other hike. And also got to see that cool drilling equipment, oil equipment from the 1800s, so that's really cool too. Let's see what this shelter has in store. Home sweet home. Cow Run Shelter is much further from the parking area than Wolf Kill Shelter is from its respective parking area. So a little bit more of a hike. I was not expecting that, but I didn't mind it. And I surprised a deer, 2 of them actually. I noticed some artifacts when I was walking up to gather firewood. Let's see if there's dates on anything. There's a tree growing up through this, bolted together pieces of wood in a box shape. There's more wood underneath that's starting to rot on the ground, and then another small piece over there. Looks like they may have worked together somehow. This thing is on like a stone platform. I was hoping it would have some kind of manufacturer information or a year on it. Solid. If there ever was any information on it, it's long gone now. With no knowledge, I have to assume that it is part of the oil drilling history here. On the hike in, I did pass some modern drilling equipment. This stuff looks like it hasn't been used in a really long time. Still cool to see though. It's already after 4:30. Took me a little while to get the wood processed. Worked up a little bit of heat, had to take my coat off. Of course, now as I sit here still, it's starting to get cold. Just wanted to take a moment, find a sunny log to sit on, and just appreciate where I am. Sometimes describing meditation in words sounds cheesy. First, focus on your breath. Let it bring you to this moment. Don't think about your next breath or the breath you just had, just this breath. Next, I like to focus on the sounds around me. Here, it's the subtle sounds of the wind, the occasional clack of a woodpecker. There's been an owl hooting every once in a while. And after bringing myself truly to this present moment, I like to next focus on gratitude. Gratitude for this moment here, being in the woods. Gratitude for all the people that made it possible, who marked the trails and built the shelters and stocked the firewood. Gratitude for Travis for supporting me and taking these trips and helping to make it possible. Gratitude for the sun and the blue skies today. Just focusing on gratitude makes me feel so joyful, so happy. Really am so glad that I get to come out here and do these trips. And I get to come to places like this that not very many people get to see. I think I'm going to sit here for a while, just enjoying the sun. And then I think it'll probably be time for dinner. Getting hungry. Got a little chilly sitting on that log. Whew. Figured I'd find a sunny spot to make dinner. Luckily, it's the picnic table right by my shelter. So last night was the chicken curry. Tonight is sweet pork and rice. I don't know why they call it sweet pork. I guess it's got like a maple or some kind of like honey, brown sugar, whatever glaze on it. But it's with like corn and black beans. So it's kind of almost like a Chipotle bowl. Man, if I had some sour cream to put on that, dang, that would be good. Had this before. I really like it. I don't think we had the coconut curry chicken before, but I would put that on rotation. That was really good. Some big chunks of pork. All right, wait for that to boil. That encounter today with the couple that was in a ditch. So strange. When I first saw the vehicle, I thought they were parked like that, which seemed very strange to me. And there was a woman sitting in the car when I drove by, but she made no attempt to get my attention. So I thought that she was fine, just happy to sit there, which again seemed very strange to me. And it wasn't until I was parked a little ways down the road that they made an attempt to get my attention, which also seemed very odd to me, which I think added to my trepidation in approaching. It's all very strange. I keep ruminating on how I could have handled the situation differently. In Buddhism, they would say that playing stressful situations over and over again in your head is just another cause of suffering. I don't know that thinking about it is helpful or constructive, except for maybe to teach me how to better handle a situation like that in the future. But honestly, I can't imagine encountering such a situation again. It was so bizarre. There was another person that stopped to help, and he said in 30 plus years of hiking, he's never run into anybody that needed help. Frustrates me when things like that get stuck in my brain and I can't move past them. The thought just keeps circling back. I try to let my thoughts pass without focusing on them, and that thought will come and I'll let it pass, and then different thoughts will come, and then that thought circles back around, and it's like, reminds me of that Family Guy episode where Peter dresses up with different costumes to come back in line for free samples. It's like that thought. Puts on a mustache and comes back. Puts on a different jacket and comes back. Puts on a wig and comes back. I'm like, I thought we were done. Keeps coming back. Yes. It's
boiling. All right, so we're going to add about half of this. And then the other half we'll add a little bit. That way everything can get submerged. And then I still have about a half a cup left that I can reheat. Stick that right in the sun so it stays warm. Actually, probably steal some of the heat. Oh, yeah. I was just finishing up making dinner when I realized that the sun is setting quickly and it's getting cold pretty quick. So I want to get my fire going before I start eating because it'll probably be dark. Put together a really good pile of little sticks, so hopefully I can get a good start. And then I have some small stuff, some medium stuff. I really went extra this time around. Really try and get this right. The sun is officially behind the hill. Not much of a sunset, and the sun is still out. It's just behind the hill, so we can't see the sun itself. So we'll have some ambient light here for a while, but it's gonna start getting dark pretty soon. So I'm glad I'm starting this fire now. Sun's just about completely down now. What's left of the sunset. It's a nice orange glow just on the edge of the hill as the sky went black. Took a little while, but I finally got the fire going. Want to keep it at a little bit of a rager right now, just so I can warm up. Then I'll get settled in here. Relax, read my book. I think it's only like 7 o'clock, so got plenty of time to kill. Gonna shove my socks and my sweatpants and my booties inside my coat so that I can warm them up before I put them on. It's a good look, don't you think? So glad I finally got this going. Oh, that is so stressful. Definitely relaxing sitting by the fire once it's going, but when you're trying to get it started, it's not relaxing. stars are out. It's a little after 8:30 and I'm just climbing into my sleep system. Gonna read for a little bit, stay nice and cozy. Still have a fire going, having a nice relaxing night. The sky is so clear and there are a bajillion stars out. So it's really cool to be able to see that. Didn't really expect that on this trip, so it was a nice surprise. Good morning. I think it's about 7. It's chilly. It's cold. It's really cold and I have to pee, so that means I gotta jump up and run up to the bathroom. Put my cold shoes on. Brody's in here with me for a minute. I honestly slept even better than last night. I slept really well. It was comfortable. It was so cozy. I mean, how could I not be? This thing alone is so friggin' fluffy and warm. Oh, it's so cozy. Working on getting the fire going this morning. Went up to the bear box this morning when I went to pee. For the trip. Not ideal walking around in these booties, but the ground's hard enough and it's not really wet per se, so seemed like fine idea. Turns out I didn't stash all my food in the bear locker last night. I put a snack in my pants, well, like in my pant line to try to warm it up, and I forgot about it. And I was like, where the heck did it go? Because I took my pants down when I went to the bathroom. I found it. I slept with a chocolate hazelnut almond butter in my pants last night. Which means I kept it nice and warm. I'm so eating this morning. Survived the night with me. Make a coffee this morning. So I have a coffee and I have 2 hot chocolates left. I'm not in a rush, so I'm probably going to just hang out and drink all of it, because why not? Eat my chocolate almond butter for breakfast. Oh boy. It's gonna be a jolt. Oh boy. I mean, it looks like something that would come out of your pants. Rude. I'm going to leave my oatmeal in my pocket, which hopefully will keep it a little bit warmer than it was yesterday. I'm trying to cook that quinoa a little better. Oh, Sky keeps getting bluer and bluer. It's going to be a good day. Since my coffee is a little bit too warm to drink, I'll probably start getting some stuff packed up. All right, my oatmeal has been soaking for a crazy long time. I added small amounts of boiling water a couple times. I also have it resting right here on the edge of the fireplace, so it's getting a little bit of residual heat, and I was hoping that that would help the quinoa soak. Looking at it, it's hard to tell. I feel like the volume is more than it was yesterday, but the quinoa still doesn't look particularly plumped. Ugh. I don't know. Also have my hot chocolate. I drank about half of my coffee and then added a hot chocolate. I got my sleeping pad and my sleeping bags all packed in their corresponding stuff sacks. I haven't packed anything into my backpack yet. Still haven't changed out of my sleep clothes. I'm just hanging out and relaxing. I don't know. I think we're going to give this oatmeal a try. All right, let's see if our quinoa is a little plumper today. Yeah, it's still pretty texturous, but it's not bad. Apples, cranberries, pecans. That is a good combination. Although I don't know, the apricot still might be my favorite. Fire is still crackling away inside, but I wanted to take some time out here. Just sit in nature. Stuff's mostly packed up. Probably going to start heading out here shortly. It's bittersweet. Coming to the end of another great trip. Really enjoyed this one. I think, oh man, I was going to try to pick a favorite part, but I don't know if there is one. The hiking has been really relaxing. The camping, just sitting by the fire for hours. Oh, what a wonderful way to spend your time. I'm really happy that I decided to focus on gratitude during this trip. I think that's a great way to get out of your head when those nagging thoughts kind of take over. Stopping and taking a moment to list some things that I'm grateful for has been a really great way to break that cycle. And when you're out here, there's so much to be thankful for. So it's pretty easy to make that list. A little bit sad that this trip is coming to an end, but so glad I made the time to come out here.
So glad I'm able to enjoy nature like this while staying safe and warm and cozy at night. Hopefully this has inspired you to get outside in your own way. Doesn't have to be an overnight trip in below freezing temperatures. Maybe just a walk through your neighborhood or a day hike at your local park. However you decide to get outside, take a moment to be grateful for all of the wonderful things around you.